Welcome to another Mount Holyoke College Psychology Statistics Hub tutorial. This is your lab director, Natasha, with another research question for you. Imagine Mount Holyoke Admissions is interested in how many hours students spend studying each day, so as better to inform their tour guides. They believe the number of hours studying may be different based on whether students are highly involved in extracurricular activities or not, and whether students live on or off campus. They also wonder if there is some combination of living on or off campus and being highly or less involved in activities that results in students studying different amounts of hours. What analysis could you use to answer this question? The Factorial ANOVA tests means of different levels of more than one independent variable on a dependent variable. You should run a Factorial ANOVA when you want to compare means of different levels and groups of more than one variable on a dependent variable. In this example, we're asking if the numbers of hours students study at Mount Holyoke is different based on whether students live on or off campus and whether they are highly involved or less involved in extracurricular activities or some combination of these groups. To run a Factorial ANOVA in SPSS, first we want to click on Analyze, then go down to General Linear Model and over to Univariate. A Factorial ANOVA dialog box will appear. In the variable list on the left, we'll click the dependent variable, which in our case is studying, and move it to the dependent variable box. Then in the fixed factors box, we'll want to put our factors, which for us are activities and on campus. The next thing that we're going to want to do is to click on the options button. We'll want to click descriptive effects, estimates of effect size, and homogeneity tests, and then we'll click continue. We'll also want to, in this dialog box, click on the EM means button and then move over activities, on campus, and the interaction into the display means for box. And then we'll click compare mean effects and continue. Now we can hit OK and we'll get a lot of output in our output file. The first table tells us how many people were in each group, and then the descriptive statistics box gives us the means for each combination of folks who were high and low involved, lived on or off campus, and then the total for everyone who is low involved and everyone who is high involved. So the way to read this is seeing that the people who were low involved and lived off campus had a mean of 3.8. Those who lived, who had low involvement and lived on campus had a mean of 3.6, and then everyone who was low involvement had a total of 3.7. So you can see you kind of have to go down and across to read each of these means. Then the same for high involvement. For those who lived off campus was 2.8. Those who lived on campus was 3.4. And overall, everyone who was high involved studied for 3.1 hours. And then finally, if you just want to know the difference between people who lived on or off campus, it was 3.3 for people who lived off campus and 3.5 for people who lived on campus. Okay. The next box gives us the Levine's test for equality of variance. So again, this is checking to see whether the variances of the different groups were similar or not. In this case, since the p-value is above 0.05, the variances were roughly equal. So we can use a post hoc if we need one that would be for equal variances assumed. However, even if there are significant differences, we actually don't need a post hoc in this case because there's only two levels per each factor. So we know that if there is a significant main effect for either of these, we'll know that the difference is between the two different levels. Okay, now we'll go down to the test of between subjects effects. And this gives us a lot of information. It gives us the degrees of freedom. And the way that we read this is we'll use the line that says activities to find out if the main effect of activities was significant. If we go all the way across, we'll see that it was. So it's 0.018, which is less than 0.05. So there is a significant difference whether students were high or low involved in activities. Then we'll check to see if there's a significant difference between people who lived on or off campus by using this row. We go over to the SIG column. This was not a significant difference. So there's no significant difference in hours studied based on whether you live on or off campus. Finally, this last row gives us the information on whether the interaction was significant. So if there's some combination of being high or low involved and living on or off campus, and we go across to the SIG column, the p-value again is above 0.05. So there's not a significant interaction. So we can quickly see that the actual only significant difference is between people who live on or off campus. Sorry. So we can see that quickly that the only significant difference is between those who are highly involved in activities or less involved in activities. Then we can go down to the estimated marginal means and look at the difference. So we can see that those who were less involved, had low involvement, studied for more hours than those who were highly involved in activities. Then this pairwise comparisons box table tells us about the significant difference, given that it was at the 0.05 level, that again, the mean difference between these two groups is significant. And again, if we want to check for the standard deviation of everyone who was high or low involved, the low involvement, the mean was 3.7, the standard deviation was 1.36. For everyone who was highly involved, their total number of hours was 3.1 with a standard deviation of 1.15. So we see that those who had low involvement studied for significantly more hours than those who were highly involved in campus activities. So as the output shows, only the difference between whether students were considered low involvement in extracurricular activities or high involvement had a significant difference in the hours of studying. Whether or not students lived on or off campus did not have a significant difference, and there was no interaction between activities, how involved students are, and whether they lived on or off campus. And to give the direction of the difference, again, those who were low involvement studied for significantly more hours than those who were highly involved in extracurricular activities. So remember, until next time, don't be mean, be above average.